Nelson here from HighLevel. We are excited to bring a story to you that we've been watching for quite some time. If you have heard of Heidi Ryder with Keepful, we have a case study planned for you. And we want to first of all welcome you into one of our first ever recordings of the story. Heidi, thanks for saying yes to us.
Thank you so much for asking me. I'm really excited about this.
So Heidi, tell us about who you are. What's your story? I know a little bit about your story, but tell the audience kind of where you are today with the whole business, and then we can backtrack and work our way into the progression the company made.
Okay, well, it's a good thing we're starting now because there's a long backstory to how we got here. But I am the owner of Keepful. I have a team of 1 right now. We are looking to hire towards the end of the year is the plan. Yep. And we've had some really good growth this year. So we're really excited. We serve bookkeepers, accountants, and now we're expanding to CFOs. So we're really excited that we're kind of dominating, if you will, that industry.
I love it. We've got a lot to kind of unpack and go through this whole entire story. I got the privilege of spending and reading on all the paperwork that you sent over for us to have context to your background, the transition, how you kind of took over the business as well. But first of all, before we go into the business component of it, tell us about who Heidi is. I know who you are. You've got kids, you've got a great family. You've got a great story behind you. Tell us a little bit about the Heidi that you became.
Well, I'm first and foremost a woman of faith. It defines everything I do, especially how I run my business. I'm also a mom to 4. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
They're boys and girls, or what?
Yes, a mix. So I have 1 girl, she's my oldest, and then I have 3 boys.
Love it.
And she keeps it all in line. And they keep me very busy. We homeschool also, so that's kind of fun. And then, now own Keepful. I also own a bookkeeping business. I owned that originally. Found out I really love owning and running a business and kind of like figuring out the admin, the marketing, that kind of thing. I now own 2 businesses.
So take us back to the first year of the journey in entrepreneurship. I know you've had more of an unorthodox, not the same ordinary story of the entrepreneur starting out from scratch. But tell us, your first year. How did this whole thing begin?
So it started, like I was mentioning, I started a bookkeeping business, found out I loved the admin side of it more so than the actual bookkeeping tasks, which is kind of a big deal when you're running a bookkeeping business. So I really wanted to scale in a way that I could hire for the tasks I didn't want to do. And at the same time, I thankfully experienced a lot of growth in that business. And the man who owned the course, Ben Robinson, he started noticing my growth, and he asked me to become curriculum manager for his course that I took on how to start a bookkeeping business. So I have a background in education. I was actually a teacher first. I taught a middle school right outside of Atlanta, which is not the best thing to do. And I taught math remediation and did not like it. And I did not like it. So when I took his course, I was really trying to find out what I was going to do for college. And so he reached out to me and he was like, I have a position for you. You can still work from home because I know that's your goal. Will you help me plan a new course? And so I kind of came into the helping people start a business, helping them know how to run it, like that kind of thing from a course perspective.
Gotcha.
And then when he learned about HighLevel, and then we kind of shifted into the marketing side, we had basically 2 branches, the course branch and then the marketing branch.
And what year is this?
So I started my bookkeeping business in 2017. Yes, right before my first was born.
Yeah.
And then started working for Ben in 2018.
Okay. And you're still working as a teacher at the time?
No.
Oh, okay. Tell us about that.
So I taught from 2016 into the school year 2016-2017. Okay. 1 year and I was out. I also found out in that year that I was pregnant with my first.
Yeah.
And so that kind of pushed me into, okay, I'm not happy where I am. I don't want to drop my baby off at daycare. I want to be home with her. And so I started researching, how can I make money from home? What can I do? So that was 2016, 2017. Started my business in 2017. And then actually replaced my teacher salary by the end of the year.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And then came on with Ben in 2018. And then it was just in the last 3 years that we actually started the Keepful branch of the business.
Got it. So you decided you're going to be a mom. And at that point, you're like, I've got to be home with my kids. Does it make sense for you to leave them and go work at a traditional job? So you're like, I'm going to do research, figure out something online, and you came across bookkeeping, took a course, and then now you're working with the owner of the course the course that you took.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the transition from being a teacher in math to bookkeeping as a whole. Like, were there any correlations, or was it like you're learning a whole different skill?
Yes, to both. So it's definitely a whole new skill. You're applying, obviously, math concepts, right? But it's not math and teaching math. It's more of like, here's how to apply it and what these numbers mean and how to, figure out percentages and growth and like all those kinds of things. But from the similarities are you're still teaching. You're just teaching the business owner now. You're teaching them how to use their numbers, what they mean, what to look for, those types of things. And so I found that I became a teacher to help people because I love math, right? Well, as a bookkeeper, I could still do that. I was still involved with math and I could still help people. I could help them in their businesses, which I have come to find out that helping someone in their business is a wide circle of influence because you're helping the business owner who's helping their team and their community and their clients. And so it's like the ripple effect. Yep. You get to help a lot of people. And that is my favorite part of what I do, which it was my whole goal for being a teacher. So in that case, it's very similar. My path just looks different now.
So when did you say, you know what, I can potentially run a business? When did you have that aha moment where you're like, maybe I have the calling to be a...
I think it has been more of a journey than a moment, for me at least. When I started my bookkeeping business, I definitely I didn't think I could do it. But I was like, at least I have this course. I'm going to try. I'm going to jump in with both feet. I don't know what else to do. If I don't make a go of this, we don't have food on the table. So when your back's against the wall, you have nowhere else to go. And so I jumped in with both feet. And I think that's been the key is like it's less about what you're doing and more about perseverance, because you can have a great idea, but if you don't persevere through it, you're never going to see it become successful, So I just jumped in with both feet, even though I never felt ready. I never felt like this is, I'm better than anybody else, or I can do this, this is my calling. I just kind of jumped in and then just followed that journey. And like I said, I'm a woman of faith. So, with the prayer, it was kind of here's the next step in the path, and here's the next step and the next step. And so it's kind of been like, even as the owner of Keepful now too, you would think owning two businesses, this would, I would know what I'm doing, right? But there's still moments where it's like, how did I get here? Where am I going? What's happening? It's still so surreal sometimes, because I don't know if this is everybody, but when I would look ahead, like, let's say I was 12 and I would see my sister who was 16. I was like, oh, when I'm 16, I'll feel this way, The same thing in business. It's like, oh, if I reach this certain revenue mile marker, I'm going to feel this certain way, like I'm going to have a ride. And then you get to that point and you're like, oh, but there's still so much you don't know. There's still so much to learn. And so it's kind of like that, where it's like, it's never really how I thought it was going to be or what I thought it was going to feel like, but it's just a ride. It's like you can't get on a fast train and you just have to hold on because you're off and running.
So yes, the jump to entrepreneurship is always scary. They say you got to figure out how to make an airplane on the way down. But when you're the person making that jump, you have no manual, no instructions of how these airplanes should be constructed. Now, speaking of your pathway into HighLevel, did you learn about HighLevel in this course that you took with Ben, or like, how did you come across the world title?
So this is where I feel like my story is very different from other people because I was kind of voluntold into it. I don't know how Ben found out about HighLevel. He had some people on his team or his mentors, that I think had found out about it, reusing it, whatever. Anyways, he was working with a guy to create the snapshot, the solution for bookkeepers. Well, it ended up, I don't know what exactly happened, but the guy could no longer work with him. And so they had created most of it. It still needed to be like QC'd and, tested and all of that stuff. But he had created most of it. And because I had a bookkeeping business and was willing to try, I was one of the only people on the team that started using it in my business to test it and fine tune it and tweak it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So since I was doing that actively in my business, I was the other person on the team. So they're like, you're the only, good fit to take this over. So I stepped right into a software that I had never really used outside of a couple
And you had
weeks.
no digital marketing background,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy.
Yeah, my only experience in marketing was what I was doing for my own business to bring in clients and that kind of thing. So thankfully, Ben has a lot of marketing experience. And so he was just a major mentor to me on that side of things. And then it was trial by fire in learning the software. And thankfully, I have a really good friend who had been using HighLevel for a couple of years. And so it was literally every day I would call him up and bug him, and I'd be like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Because we had support, but you also don't want to feel like an idiot calling us support, being like, what is this? Oh, the button's right there.
Yes, we do have great support, and we also find people shy using our support resources often because, like you said, they want to be fruitful in those calls. They don't want to bother someone just to get a couple of things stuff. Right?
Yep.
So help us understand. 2017, you make this jump. I assume 2018 you started working with that.
Yes.
2018 is when HighLevel was established. So,
Oh, really?
So Ben might have found out about HighLevel pretty early on in the stages of the original version of HighLevel. So it's now what it is. What we have today is nowhere near what we had then. Help us understand how you started looking at the bookkeeping business and, what were the gaps you were seeing where you felt like, okay, an automation platform can do X, Y, Z.
So there's a couple of main, big answers that it gives to bookkeepers. One, they are typically introverts, and so they hate to follow up. And the money's in the follow-up. People are not going to just have one conversation with someone and hire them to handle their sensitive information, like numbers and checking accounts and that type of thing. So there's so much money left on the table because they don't want to feel pushy or salesy in following up. And that was my main takeaway when I first started testing it. I finally had a nurture campaign, where and it works. Surprise, surprise, right? Following up consistently with people converts. And so that's the main thing. It takes the pressure off of them. Even just something as simple as here, sign a contract. They would just send the contract and then maybe 10 days later, see if there were questions. And then if they think about it, maybe another 10 days later, But in this case now with the automations, it's out of their hands. They don't have to feel like they're pushy or bothering anybody. And it's following up and it's helping create more conversions for them. So that's the one side. And then the other side is the professional online presence because they're hate writing about themselves. So the whole about me bio is really uncomfortable. So being able to kind of help them create a professional appearance online that really reflects who they are. Because now your website, your online presence is key because people go there to find out who you are and what you're about. And so having that created for them takes the pressure off because it's so much easier to edit than it is to start from scratch.
Right.
So that's kind of our main focus at Keepful. It's you never have to start from scratch. That's our goal. And we'll help you. You don't have to start from scratch. So it's just kind of implementing those things that we all know work, but bookkeepers have a hard time. It's not their comfortable area.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about numbers a little bit, if you don't mind. So when you first jumped into the business, how many clients do you feel like you guys were at? what kind of revenue were you guys doing? What was at least the milestones that you guys would cross?
So we launched it in a couple different times. Our very first launch was to a group of people that came to like an intensive. It was an in-person workshop type thing.
Is that part of the course?
Yes.
Okay, so you had the course online already.
Yes.
You guys put together an in-person event.
Yep.
And then at the event, you sold probably an offer.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Break
And
that down for us.
the offer was actually part of the event.
Okay.
So they bought their ticket to the event, and it included, well, he did free for life for those people because they were charter, they would give us feedback, help us make it better, that type of thing.
So that was your beta group, essentially.
Yes. And if I remember right, I think it was 20 people that got that.
Wow. And this is 2018, end of 2019. Oh, 18.
No, this was 3 years ago. So 2022.
Okay, so what happened from 2018 to 2022?
We were making the course better.
So-
So we did a lot of coaching,
Okay.
like group coaching calls. I did a weekly coaching call where we would talk about marketing. We would talk about, getting through the course. We talked about mindset. Mindset was a really big thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people were just like I was. We were employees now trying to shift into running a business, and you have to think very differently
Gotcha.
when you shifted to that kind of entrepreneur, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So we would talk a lot about mindset. So through those years, it was, improving the course, taking people's feedback, making it better, really figuring out where the holes were in people's businesses, how to get them success and that kind of thing, and coaching and all of those kinds of things. So that's kind of where we started seeing like there's a big need for marketing and helping people convert their clients or their leads, because there's no shortage of businesses that need bookkeepers.
Yeah. And what kind of avatar of people were you guys attracting to the course itself from 2018 to 2022?
People like me.
Okay.
Mostly moms that needed self or wanted something to do from home.
Okay.
It works very well with being super flexible. There's no bookkeeping emergencies. So when you have someone that has children, those children can still come first, and you have the freedom and the flexibility to run a business.
Yeah, and then how did the pandemic affect you guys? Because it sounds like it's around the same time or right after.
So with bookkeeping, actually, we found a greater need because people were needing to qualify for like the PPP and the EIDL and those kinds of things. So they need good bookkeeping for that, to be able to qualify for the credits and those kinds of things. So we, thankfully, the only thing sure in life is death and taxes, right?
This is true.
So we say it's a little bit, it's more of a secure industry, if you will. Now, some of my own clients were strongly affected. So my business kind of shifted a little bit. And I think a lot of people saw that, where some of the businesses that were already struggling were not able to survive. But in its place, the businesses that pivoted and figured out, they came out stronger.
Yeah.
So it kind of business just shifted a little bit. There was like a little fluid feel, but as far as like, if it actually hit us or anything like that, it was thankfully pretty good.
So in my timeline of 2022, the big focus is the course. At some point, you were like, Ben, I've got to take this over. I've got to shift into this whole SaaS play. Is that to help me understand 2022?
So it was a very interesting year for me personally. We had just bought our first house because we had been renting all these years of our marriage. So we had just bought our first house, which is huge,
I assume you were doing better than in teaching.
Yes,
So you're
definitely
sitting
better.
up and you're like, okay, I got to invest into a house.
Yes. So that was our big focus and trying to navigate, I had 3 kids at that point, and I was, had a full-time job as curriculum manager working for Ben, and I had my own business. And by that point I had hired, so I wasn't doing like the day-to-day.
When you say your own business, you're doing your own bookkeeping
Yes.
business from the skills you learned from the course you taught.
Correct.
While also working for it.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So I had, the kids, the house, the bookkeeping business, and the full-time job. And then it was Ben and his wife that ran the company. So his wife called me up one day And I was out, we got a new house, like that was newly built. So of course the landscaping, we needed to, work on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was out like picking up sticks and rocks and whatever. She calls me up and she was like, okay, she named the guy who was no longer able to help us. She was like, he's not here anymore. So you're the only person on the team that is actively using Keepful. So I think you should take it over. And it can be your thing. We'll call you product specialist, and you'll be promoted to this. I was like, are you sure I'm qualified for this? And she said, I said you are, and so you are.
This is what you mean by the voluntary
Yes.
promotion almost. So when you say Keepful, for the folks that are watching and they're thinking this is a high-level podcast. What is Keepful versus HighLevel?
So Keepful is built on HighLevel. It is our business, a white labeled SaaS company that we have.
Powered.
Yeah. We've taken the software and created the automations and customizations, like templates and emails and those kinds of things that are specific for bookkeepers.
Got it. And for clarity for the audience, what do you mean by white label?
So it's using the same platform. It's using the HighLevel platform, but what my clients see is just the Keepful brand. So I will actually, to this day, run demos because we're not shy about this is built on HighLevel. Because we have
we're on a podcast.
This is true. Some people will find us and they'll find us specifically because they're looking for a high-level solution that's niched in bookkeeping or accounting. And so those people find us, they know what HighLevel is, and it's more of just like, how do you answer my question, or like, how do you solve my problems? Then there's other people that come to us that are just looking for a CRM or automation solution, and they have no idea what HighLevel is. So we have kind of both spectrums, but yes, they see the Keepful brand. It's built on HighLevel platform though.
I love it. Okay, let's go back to 2022. This new product specialist has arrived.
Ready or not?
Who is she? What is happening? Why did they say it's time to take it over? What's happening at this point? And how many clients do they have on this component or the SaaS side of it?
I think at that point we were somewhere between 86 and 125 clients.
Gotcha.
Because our original 20, and then we improved it, and then we launched it again, and we got, I think it was 86 people.
Got it. And the pool of people that typically come into this from the course, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like students that are coming in from the bookkeeping course who wants to get into automations. They just trickle in, and it's kind of, so they're not actively chasing after, per se, SaaS specific clients. These are overlap from the course.
Yes.
Got it.
More of just like an upsell, right?
Got it.
It was kind of our upsell ladder where you buy the course, you start your business. Now you need a solution for a website, for automation, for emails, calendar, all these different things. So it's kind of like here's your next best step.
Yeah.
And now we actually offer free trials only to the people that pass our exams. Or their exams. Yeah, I still call their company mine. But it's kind of like the next best step. So you've got your skills, you're starting your business, here's how to start it right, is kind of how it was promoted.
Got it. Makes sense. So 2022, you're like, all right, I think I can take it over if that's what you're telling me. What are you thinking you're going to do, or what are your first steps as a main person going Keepful in 2022?
I was terrified. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
I was so scared. And I also didn't fully understand the power of HighLevel because I didn't know it. It's like I'd only been in there and seen the calendars and the emails and the automations. I didn't understand. And of course, just in the last 3 years, it's grown crazy. Yeah. So I didn't fully understand it. And when you don't understand something, you don't know the value of it, right? So part of it was I had only been playing with it. I hadn't really hadn't jumped all in yet.
Yeah.
And so at that point it was, I don't like to do things halfway. So I kind of live by the whatever you do heartily. And so I was like, okay, well, this is my next step. This is what I have to do. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to figure out what makes it valuable. Because in addition to just kind of managing the support is really what the product specialist part of it was. I also took over promoting it and getting new clients to come in, like all those pieces too. So it's like, if I'm going to sell it, I have to know what it does.
Yeah. So in 2022, are you the owner of Keepful yet?
No.
You're not. You're basically running that division for another company.
Yes.
Actually. Okay, cool. So what were the problems and the type of tickets you were seeing in that beginning stages? Like, what were some of the customer interactions like? What were the demos like? What was the celebrations like? Help us understand your interactions with those early stage customers.
So we had a lot of growth pains,
Yes.
I guess, like any business would, right?
Yeah.
And we learned a lot. So we started with just one price ticket. And we actually,
What was the pricing?
so we started with the annual at $29.97. So almost $3,000 was our ticket. And at our first launch, we sold that and then a monthly $297.
And when you say launch, it's at an event?
So the event was part of the ticket, which was a little different because they were buying. So people, especially bookkeepers, I can't speak for everybody, but bookkeepers, they will slap down any sort of money for a course.
Really?
Because they want to feel confident and competent. Because it's important when you're dealing with people.
They value education.
Yes. And so for it to be part of that ticket made sense for them to buy it. And Ben was very trusted in the community because he always would over deliver. And so they didn't hesitate to buy it because it was part of the course. Well, then when we started selling software, bookkeepers are very tech averse. I shouldn't say tech averse. They are cautious. They're not going to be your early adopters.
Gotcha.
And so it was much more difficult to sell just the software to them and get them to see the value.
Empower me.
Yes. And they don't like marketing anyways. So it's like, here, you need marketing. Let me sell you software. Two things they don't like. Or they would rather not work on, right? Yeah. So it was a little bit trying to figure out the positioning, like the message behind it, helping them see what it could accomplish for them instead of what they would have to do. And there was a lot of learning on my part on like how to help them, how to support them, how to do most of it for them and kind of just take it off their plate so that we can position it more in that sense.
So almost 80 plus customers, you're running the show by yourself. Even now, there's only one other team member for what I know. And you guys are at over 220 something plus customers, correct?
And that's pay. We have 329 the last I checked. 300 something actual customers. Some of those are pre-trials.
So it's possible.
Right.
For the folks that are watching and they have this thought process of, man, if I bring on customers, I have to build like this huge support, build this huge infrastructure of help docs and videos and like speak to those people if you.
So we use the tools that integrate with HighLevel for some level of support.
Right.
So I was finding originally we were doing full white label support too, in addition to our help, our email support. And I was finding that a lot of the questions they were having were very specific to their industry, what they wanted to do. And it was easy for me to answer those questions because I also own a bookkeeping business. So I understand they have this idea and I'm like, oh, here's how we can actually bring it to life and make it even better. And those were the types of questions and the types of support that they were wanting. And so I found it was less confusing if they just came straight to me.
Right.
So then we shifted to, we have the docs and the library for them to use and search if it's just a quick little question that they want help. And now we've actually brought in, because of the custom menu tabs, we've brought in, there's a lead connector ChatGPT that we've pulled in. And so now they can have like AI as they can chat more with someone, right, for support. And so then it kind of begins to free up, because the more accounts we have, the more the email inbox is just, becoming an animal. But yeah, it's been learning, and then that's where we shifted into different membership levels too, because I was finding that not everybody wanted the hand holding. Some people wanted to get in there and do it themselves. They created new stuff. Like, they are the tech people that they enjoy building out and seeing it come to life. And they didn't need as much support from us. They need to know that we're there for questions and things like that. They didn't need us to do the work for them. So that's when we split into our core and our concierge. Our concierge is where we do it for you. And then core is where you get all the base features that we've created, the automations, those types of things. And full access to the software. And then they can go do it themselves. And that has really helped us with support too, because somebody, on a core level emails in and we don't have to go do it for them. We say, here's all the resources. We, record a little tutorial video or whatever, and then send them on their way. And so splitting our membership has really saved us on support as well.
Got it. So in 2022, you guys are charging $3,000 annually, essentially, on average. You're handling essentially all the onboarding, all the support to about 80 plus customers. What happens next in the business? Like, what does 2024 look like? Or, what is the next milestone that kind of unfolds?
So the end of 2020, you're going to love this. The end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023, we had the bright idea to offer a free trial to everybody in all time that had passed our course.
Say that one more time. So you're wanting to offer trials to anybody that's in your pool of courses, like your education side?
Yes.
And how many people are there?
12 to 13,000.
Okay.
We had 1,000 get free trials.
And how long are the trials? Well,
6 months of trial.
Oh, no.
And it was like, we ended up having to space it out and do like groups, segments, if you will.
Like chapters or classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
like a February class, a March class.
well, we did it like every other week, basically.
Gotcha.
We would launch to the next, and I think we split them up into like 11 groups. So there were about 100 people per group that we would launch to. And so every week I was onboarding 100 people. Now, because it's a free trial, not everybody's invested, right? They haven't invested time or money or anything. They're just like, oh, free, I'll take it. Yes. And so there wasn't as much, obviously there wasn't really, besides the onboarding and getting them set up, there really wasn't a lot of extra support or work there.
And at this point, you're working in the business.
Yes.
Got it. Keep going.
Yeah. So that was, I will say that I was frustrated with that. That was a time where I was frustrated. We were still trying to figure things out. Like, it was a very rough time.
You unlocked the gates to the front door without the kitchen being built. Yes, it's going to be a little frustrating when 1,000 people walk in on a trial.
Yes.
What was the point of that? Like, what was the intention behind that when you guys first kind of tested that out?
I don't know, because at that point I was just product specialist. So while I was championing it and supporting it, and like it was my breath that I breathed, it was not, I wasn't the one making the final decision.
Got it.
So I'm not sure what made that decision. I was just told, hey, we're offering this to everybody. Here's how we're going to make it happen.
So 6-month trials. What happens when they expired with these trials?
Most of them canceled. Because there was a no card on file. There was a no risk.
Okay.
So unless they enrolled at the end of that free trial, it just expired.
Gotcha.
So there were a lot of, yeah.
So what happens in 2024, the rest of the time?
So we went from, 1,000, then back down to like, I think we were at 125, something like that. And then there was another course that he launched that gave 2 years of free trials. So we're still not done with those. The end of this month, like I think 100 of them run out. So there was a lot of free trials that kept being offered at different times that kind of messed with our numbers a lot. But it was, we would like grow and then we wouldn't promote for a while.
Yeah, it's like a feast and famine kind
Yes.
of thing based on the course launches.
Yes.
Okay. So when did you make the decision to pivot and like absorb a company?
So that was actually my friend that's been helping me with HighLevel for all these years, right? Still a really good sounding board, just very strong support
We
there.
always. How did you find it? First of all, that alone is a podcast. How to find a friend in HighLevel.
Events like a Level Up, like the in-person events.
Yes.
So I think we met at a bookkeeping event.
Gotcha.
And it was just one of those things that, like, it just fits,
Yeah.
And so we were already, putting together what we call the mastermind, but it was more just a few of us that got together to talk about how hard business ownership is. And then when I became product specialist, part of the team, and found out, because I needed help, I was like, who am I going to go to? I don't know anything about this. I don't have a background in tech. I don't have a background in marketing. Like, what am I doing? So then I found out that he had a background with HighLevel. He understood it. And so it became one of those things that, like, because I needed his help every day, then it just kind of morphed into, now it's mentorship and support and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So one day, I knew it was time for a change. And the primary cash cow, if you will, of the bookkeeping training company is the course. That was our our big moneymaker. And then, so Keepful was like a back offer, never a priority. I saw the potential in it. And I came to Level Up in 2024. And I was like, people are doing like $1 million companies. I was fired up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you come to one of the events, that will change everything.
Yeah.
It'll change your outlook. It would change the way you talk to people that are in the struggles, that will tell you what they did to get out of the struggles. You see people that are trying to get acquired by mass companies. You see all kinds of plethora of people.
Yeah.
So you came to Level Up last year and you're like, I've got to take this over.
Well, and I think it kind of blew my mind what everybody that you talk to is doing it a little differently. And I think that is one of the things that I love the most about HighLevel. You can take it, there's the affiliate, there's the agency, there's the staff. Like, there are so many different things that you can do with it, and it's so cool.
Yeah, even within SaaS, there's micro, there's low ticket, there's mid ticket, high ticket, SWAS. And there's so many different varieties of how digital entrepreneurs or not even want to call them digital entrepreneurs, just regular people blending this whole SaaS world up.
Yeah. And it's really cool because you can take it and do what's authentic to you. You don't have to fit into someone else's mold. You get to be you and figure out what works for you and your audience that you want to reach. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I was very excited when I came to Level Up about the potential for what I could do with it, where we could go. And by that point, between 2022 and 2024, I had learned HighLevel inside and out. And so then I understood the value. I was like, this is a game changer. This is 1 in a million. You will not find this anywhere else. I was all in at that point.
So 2023, at this point, you're starting to see the potential of you kind of taking it over. You're having your own kind of little soundboard friends that you can just kind of go back and forth and kind of figure out what you should do. You're at 125 plus clients because you got rid of the original round of free trials for 6 months. So at that point, how were you guys doing revenue-wise?
I don't know.
Oh, because you're still a team member.
Yes. So
yeah.
I got to see our raw revenue. like our top line, but I didn't see any of the expenses or anything that went into it because it was all rolled into the main company.
Right.
And we didn't have any like cost to acquire clients because it was all students. We were not promoting it outside of our audience at all.
Gotcha.
And we were going to events, but they were the events that we as a company were putting on.
Right.
So there wasn't like the booth fee and that kind of
You're in your own economics.
Yes.
Got it. So 2024, the next year, what happens then? You're product specialist 2/3 at this point.
Yeah. So I really started wanting to get the word out there because there's not a lot of really good solutions for bookkeepers on this side. There is once they get, like once the client is signed, sealed, and delivered, right? There's the bookkeeping delivery service softwares, but nothing for marketing and
Sales
and that type of thing. And so for me, I was like, we need to get this out there before anybody else beats us to it. We have a really great solution. We've worked out the kinks. Like, let's go. I was fired up to get it outside of our own audience. And people were starting to share. Like, our audience were starting to tell other people, like, hey, you need it.
organically.
Yes. So we were starting to grow. And I was finding that those type of people that were finding us outside of our community were really fantastic clients because they knew what they wanted and they had decided that we were the best option. And so I realized that, hey, we have a whole untapped market that we could go to. And I had ideas on like what I wanted to do, but because it wasn't the main priority in the company, it kept being pushed back when other priorities came up. And that's when I was frustrated, of course. I knew a change was coming because I was like, I just can't keep doing this. It was disheartening in the sense of I would put everything I had into whether it was a new launch idea or a new promotion or whatever. And then it would get pulled at the last minute because there was another priority that took precedence.
Yeah.
So
Well, they're an education-based company.
Yeah.
Right? They're not in the world of SaaS at this point.
Yes.
So it's understandable in a way of
Yeah.
maybe how they were thinking about that. So when does the actual transition happen?
Just this year.
Wow. And we're 2025.
Yes.
So 2023, you had your fourth?
2024, I had my fourth. Yes.
Okay.
June of 2024, I had my fourth.
Got it. So timing all worked out anyway.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Yes.
It's okay. Help us understand what that whole transition looks like from going from being a team member to then the owner of the company.
It has been amazing. God has been so good, first of all, but also Ben has been super supportive. So my friend challenged me when I was, of course, venting one day, and he was like, why don't you just buy it? And I'm like, can I do that? The idea hadn't even crossed my mind until that moment. And so then it was like going down the rabbit hole of like, how do I get funding? How does this work? What type of offer do I make? Reached out to Ben and I asked, hey, can I buy Keepful from you? And at first it was like a definite no, not at all. And then I don't even think it was an hour later. He's like, okay, let's talk about it. Why do you want to buy it? What do you like? Just kind of trying to figure out where I was coming from. And I was honest with him. I was like, I know it's not a priority because it's not our main breadwinner. It was highly profitable, but it wasn't high revenue yet. Well, it's still, in comparison, I guess, relatively, it wasn't high revenue. And so I was like, I see potential. I want to take this thing all the way. I want to grow it. And I can't do that when my focus is split.
Yeah.
Because working, like my main focus obviously was the Keepful branch, but at this point, I had been promoted to I was chief subscription officer because he had stepped out a little bit more of the company. And so he put 4 of us in charge of it. So I was obviously mostly managing the Keepful subscriptions, but I was also in charge of student happiness and retention and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So my focus was split. And I was like, again, one of those things where you have to jump in order to make it work.
So in 2024, did y'all grow your client base naturally from 125 to even higher numbers?
We didn't have a lot of growth. Like it was kind of up and down. Like we would lose a couple and then we'd get a couple because we never did big pushes. Like we didn't do In 2023, we did, I think, I'm trying to remember now, we did 2 like info webinars to our audience, and that always would bring in, usually about 17 people would sign up. We did a Black Friday one. And then, so in 2024, I think we did one. Oh, we were at the event that we had put on. We had a booth there. And so we got some signups from that. So it was very low touch. It was not a lot of promotion. And so we didn't really have a lot of growth. Like we held steady. And then there were a few months towards the end of 2024 that I started seeing like each month was a little bit higher than the last one.
So in 2024, Ben initially said, no, I don't want to sell this. Then he called you back in an hour and he's asking he was unpacking of like what the vision was.
Yeah.
What was your vision as somebody that would take this over? Well, what was that like?
I wanted to grow it. I had some ideas of like additional services to offer, additional, like now we're moving into the CFO space. So I started seeing, because everything morphs a little bit, right? That's business. And so I started seeing our bookkeeping members adding membership model revenue, where they needed to use the course aspect, the communities. And so I wanted to be able to kind of start to shift with them. As I saw changes coming in, I wanted to be able to do that. So that was one thing, was to offer more things, create more streams of revenue, if you will. And then I also just wanted to start promoting it outside of our own audience. That was never a focus. I was ready to go to other trade shows. I was ready to get, one of my favorite ways is to partner with people who have audiences. So like we have some really good strategic partnerships now where we're in front of their audiences, because again, there's not a lot of solutions out there for marketing and sales for bookkeepers.
Yeah. So are trade shows one of your biggest way of growing? Like, how did you go from like 80 something customers to now like 225 or more?
A lot of hard work.
Absolutely.
And mostly I would say our delivery, our support, because our trade shows, they don't typically they're not high converters as far as like signups go. We get good demos, and typically the demos from there are like 75% conversions. So we do get pretty good numbers from the trade show, demo signups, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But the biggest benefit to being there is the networking. The connections are everything. And this most recent one, this June in 2025 year, we did one at Scaling New Heights, which is a really big event for accountants and bookkeepers. And we had so many people come by the booth that came by because someone else had told them Keepful was the solution they needed to their problem. So it's that type of staying in front of people and like being visible and building that connection is huge. It doesn't pay off like right then at the event, but then those relationships get nurtured, and the more you show up, the more they come to you, and they're like, I saw you last year, decided, I didn't need that type of solution. And now, no, I was wrong. I do need it.
Got it. So you have a team effort, right? What are the roles between you and yours?
So it's a lot of, she's my right-hand girl. She does really, really well in assisting me and just like stepping in wherever I need her. I'm very, very blessed in that she also owns a bookkeeping business. So she understands from the business ownership and the bookkeeping side of things how to support people. So she's really good on just like, she helps me with email support. She helps me with, we do customization, build out, that type of thing, where people will tell us, okay, I'm offering this service. Here's how I want this process to flow. And then we go and we build it out to make it happen. And so she's good at supporting us, helping me do that. She's really good at design and such. So she helps with a lot of our website setups, customizations, that type of thing. So it's really wherever she needs to be. That's where she jumps right in. She's fantastic.
That's amazing. So when it comes to finances, you could allow me going back to those. So at 225 clients, what is your lifetime value for each client? What is your offer price? Like what are numbers that a new SaaSpreneur can look at your business and learn from? Does that make sense? Like what does that look like?
So our monthly recurring revenue is just over 30,000.
Right.
We still have a few annual plans. We don't offer those up front anymore because we also don't do refunds. So if someone gets the annual plan and then decides, hey, it's actually not what I want, we were running into a lot of issues there. So now our annual plans are more of like you've used us for a few months and you want to save, because of course annual you save a little bit, right? So then they can upgrade to the annual plan. So we have mostly monthly recurring. So I like to track how many new signups versus how many cancel. And so lifetime value is kind of hard to determine because most of our clients have stayed with us since the beginning.
So some of your old customers were grandfathered in because of the old pricing. So you're in a special scenario here now. Help us understand your vision for the pricing you have for the future. Like, what do you guys charge per month? Is it annual only, or what does that look like?
So now this is actually something that's one of my goals while I'm, in the next few weeks or whatever, because I want to figure out what my metrics are, because I need to, HighLevel has a really great agency dashboard, of course, to watch. But I also want to watch a lot of other numbers with it and kind of keep track because I want to see how many fall off, how many of those are free trials that just don't convert, because that kind of messes with my numbers a little bit. Like we still offer free trials. We have 2 strategic partners. Obviously, one was my former employer. We still offer a free trial when someone passes the exams. And that's anywhere from like 4 to 14 people a month. It's not a huge number. And then when those free trials run out, not everyone converts. So it's like, I don't want those numbers to mess with my actual client. So I'm trying to figure out, that's one of the things that I think it's a moving target in some way.
We call it the trial to conversion rate.
Yep.
And in the beginning stages, it's usually muddied because you have sometimes 2 betas that you tried out and one has a different pricing versus another. Or you had a strategic partner, like your scenario, where the influx of inbound trials are coming from an unpredictable source.
Yeah.
Or you went through a promo of some kind, and it's only valid for that attribution of that promo campaign. So it can get real muddy in the beginning stages. But for the folks that are watching and they are just starting out, what are some pricing that you would recommend?
So we found that the $297 a month was a really good kind of anchoring point. Yeah. And one thing that I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
To a fault. And so one thing I'm trying to navigate now is not saying yes to everything, but monetizing it. So for instance, we had one person that, had like 6 different brands to create, and we did it all under the one monthly fee. And so moving forward, it's like, I don't think that's accurate. I think we should figure out a different model for that, right? So it's kind of navigating that part, but that $297 was great for starting and then figuring out like what all is involved in that amount. And like another, we're launching some managed social media where they have a library they get to choose from and that kind of thing. And so that's going to be an extra charge. So kind of figuring out
these different services.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Different ways, ascension plans, different things that we can do to kind of optimize using things that they're asking for a lot. Like the number one question I get on demos is, do you guys also do social media? So then it started being like, well, I say no now, but maybe I can make it so we can say yes.
Yeah.
And then just kind of figuring out how that is. So I would say for starters, nailing down support is huge because that's going to really help with retention. It's going to help with those word of mouth referrals. It's going to help with your brand image. Like that is one thing we did right was support. almost to a fault.
Yeah.
Where now it's like, okay, new people coming on, we have to kind of tamper expectations because we're gonna over,
Overshoot.
yeah, we're gonna overextend our support. And I never want that. That was one of the questions that someone asked me. And I really appreciate her being honest with me and asking me this question when she found out I was buying Keepful. And thankfully, everybody stayed during the transition. Like, that was one of the concerns, obviously, when you acquire a company. It's like, how many clients are you going to lose in the middle of that? Everybody stayed. I think we maybe had 1 or 2 people that were already looking at either downgrading or canceling, and so they changed plans or whatever. But for the most part, everybody stayed. And then shortly after the transition was done, I launched a promo to everyone that had had the free trials. They had Keepful in the past, that kind of thing. And we had more people sign on from that. So it was a very positive feedback that I got from taking over the company. But one question I did get asked was, are we going to lose access to you? Because I'm the face of the company. I've always been the face of the brand because they emailed in, that's who they got, right? And so my answer to her was, you might not always talk to me, but I'm going to ensure we have the same level of support. And that's huge. That's all they wanted to know was, do I get the same level of support? I understand if it can't always be you, because I'm not 3 people, right? But just, they want that support because nobody wants to feel left out in the cold with a software that they can't navigate. So that's, I think, what we did right from the beginning was the support. And so being able to retain people, I was mostly just, and still to this day, my baseline is we need 4 new clients a month. As long as we have 4 new clients a month, because we retain them so well, we are going to see good growth over time with that. And the beauty of monthly recurring revenue is you don't have to start from scratch every month. So it's kind of like, if we can just watch those numbers, and now like adding into that, I'm adding in, upgrades, downgrades. What does that look like? Because that changes your revenue, obviously. Full cancellations versus downgrades, like just kind of trying to keep track of like, what can we do to improve that retention, even though it's pretty good? Like, that's where the money is. Keep the ones that come in the door and you'll be okay.
So Heidi, as we kind of close this out, I want to talk about 2 things. It's, if you don't mind, the hardest lessons you've had in this journey. And I also want to talk about the best celebrations you've had, right? Let's talk about the hard stuff. How has this changed you as a person, or maybe it didn't change you? How has this affected your family? What are the relationships maybe that you took, some action, that affected certain things? Like, what's been the hard part about becoming your own entrepreneur?
It has definitely changed me. And the Heidi I am today, and this, it's a little difficult to think about, but the Heidi I am today is world different than the Heidi I was 3 years ago. And it started with that, just straight up fear. Like, it was terrifying to come from bookkeeping, and that I was one of the leaders. Like, people looked up to me. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was talking about. To shift into something that I had 0 experience in and to figure out from the ground up was very humbling, just terrifying and humbling because I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning it all. But I think in that, I got to rewrite what I wanted it to look like. And so it's definitely changed me personally. I have done things in the last 3 years that I never would have had the courage to do before. Even things as simple as like reconnecting with my family. I never thought that would happen. My parents divorced. And so there were, between my siblings and I, and my dad, and like, I was not able to, we just didn't have a relationship. There was a lot of falling out that happened. And just in the last year and a half, there's been a reconnection. And it all stems from the way I was able to rewrite what I wanted Heidi to look like, what I wanted the business to look like. It was a blank slate that I got to create. And it's been incredible. It's really like nothing that I thought. Like, when you think, okay, I'm going to start a business because I need to make money, right? I need to put food on the table for my family. But in doing that, you get to figure out what you want it to look like. You get to figure out what's working, what's not. What do I want to offer to people? Who do I want to be for people? What do I want to be remembered as? It's just, it's freeing, terrifying, freeing. And it gave me the courage to like step up and get to decide, like, here, I'm not just going to let life happen to me. I'm going to take it and I'm going to figure out what I want it to be and write that and try to make that happen.
Of that. Who do your kids think you are as the CEO?
Well, my daughter wants to work for me, she said. But that is probably one of the things that changes every day, because I do work from home and I homeschool. And so finding the nooks and crannies to do work in and to take care of the kids and to find that, like, kids are always going to be my first priority, but I also have a business to run. So finding out how to not compromise one or the other, to still be there, like it is a moving target. It is something that I'm actively working on, and it is work. It is work to figure out, like, what do I want that to look like? How do I want it to be? Because, and just as Ben was mentoring me the other day, and he was like, you have to set the parameters for your business, because whatever room you give it, it's going to fill that whole room. So for me, I kind of tend to be workaholic. So I was working all the time, mornings, nights, during the day, weekends, like all the time. And work was filling that. Like, I had plenty of work to do. I still had plenty of work to do. But being able to set healthier boundaries, again, rewriting, like, what do I want my days to look like? What do I want my children to remember? Because they'll say, you know, mommy's working. And so it's just trying to figure out, how do I want them to see that? I want them to see that you can be successful without compromising your family. I want them to see that I come from a background where women were just supposed to be moms, and they weren't allowed to have a business, or they weren't allowed to have other pursuits when they were moms. And so I want my daughter to see that you don't have to die as a mom. Like, you can still be in there, and you can still be successful in both parenthood and business, but you can do it in a way that your kids don't suffer or your family doesn't suffer. It can be healthy in all areas. And that is a work in progress.
No, I love that. I think this is the part that I think entrepreneurs miss, because I can tell you at a personal level, I looked up 5 years later, I found myself hanging out with less family members, less friends. And I'm like in this island of entrepreneurship, because most people that I hang out with are now entrepreneurs only, right? So it's very easy to go down the lane of just forgetting why you know what you do, you know. Lastly, the celebrations. What are things that you've done, or what are milestones that you came across where you're like, okay, let me pause for a second and celebrate?
So I'll start with the one that's happening now.
That's right.
Yes. It has always been for years, I have dreamed about owning a Corvette. I want to pay cash for one. And of course, with 4 kids, like, that's not going to happen for a long time. So I decided, coming down here for this, that I would rent one. And it has been amazing. So it's just like, because I am very hard on myself when it comes to milestones, or because business is a journey. And so you can say, okay, I want it to look like this a year from now. And it's so important to set visions. But we have to write them in pencil, because sometimes they end up looking different. But we still need to celebrate them. We still need to celebrate that, you know, last year. So I just like to set like 1-year goals. And then I also like to break it into quarters, so that I can kind of see more immediate celebrations, more immediate wins, right? And so just looking from last year to this year, I mean, owning the company, And that's a huge win. Owning the company, like the service we provide, people know about us now. We have strategic partners. We're in other people's audiences. Like these were things that last year I was fighting to accomplish, and now they've happened. And so but it still doesn't look like success, if you will, right? There's still the next mountain to climb. You get to the top of this mountain, there's the next one to climb. And so just pausing and celebrating, like, no, we made it. Even halfway up this mountain, we made it halfway. And then just pausing to remember and look back at all the little things that happened. There's been a lot.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's so important to celebrate the small wins just as much as the big wins. Heidi, thanks for saying yes to us, coming down and doing this whole recording to kind of give to the community and tell the world what's possible. It's been, so exciting for us to kind of watch this story kind of unfold. Usually we come across, brands that's been around our ecosystem for like 3-4 years or even longer. But this has been quite the short run of a company that just bloomed out of nowhere. So we're so grateful that you got the time to share and just, tell us what you're doing. Final thoughts and final words to the folks that are just watching. Speak to the person that is just so afraid they don't have their first client yet, and they're in that early stage, and I just figured out that HighLevel exists.
The first one is always the hardest. And after that, it's just building, right? So jumping in, both feet, there's no other options. Take all other options off your plate, because if you think there's other options, you're going to not quite try quite as hard, right? You'll be like, oh, well, at least I have this fallback plan. So pretend there's no fallback plan and you jump all in, you commit, get that first client, and then celebrate that. And then get that second client. And while you're getting that second client, make the first one happy, because they will become your raving fan, right? They'll become a salesperson for you and start to tell other people. So get the first client, deliver, make them happy, and keep looking for the second. And a lot of times in the bookkeeping world, we call it feel the fear and do it anyways. There's a whole book on it. Because the thing that's the scariest is usually the thing that you'll find moves the needle. So when you feel that fear, that's where you should probably go. It's big and scary, but that's what's going to help accomplish your goals. And set those goals, because if we don't have clear goals, we'll just pull at all the shiny things. There's lots of noise out there when it comes to running a business, like options and ideas and all sorts of things. But if you chase all the ideas, you're less likely to make a success of any of them, right? So they might be great ideas, but you also need great timing. So being able to pick your goals and go with them with all that you have. If you reach them, great, celebrate it. If you don't reach it, great, celebrate it. At least you made progress, right?
I love that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching another episode of our HighLevel case studies. We call them the HighLevel breakthroughs. Hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.